Welcome everyone. Okay, Parshas Chayei Sarah. Let's start. The Nesivos Shalom is talking about the Marmor that we're dealing with is the third and a little bit of the fourth Marmor on page Kuf Lamed Gimel 133 in the Nesivos Shalom. So let's look at the Psukim a little bit. It says. Vayu Chayei Sarah 120 shana v'sheva shanim shnei Chayei Sarah. The life, it was the life of Sarah, 127 years. Actually separates it 120 and 7. And then it says that Sarah passed away. This is actually obviously part of the test of Avraham, a big test of Avraham. His life partner was taken away from him right after doing such an amazing feat, passing with flying colors, his other test, the test right before of shechting his son. So, Vayavo Avram l'spud l'sar v'livkosa. And this is what the Nesivos Shalom is, well, it says first where Sarah passed away, in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And it says, Vayavo Avram l'spud l'sar. And Avram came to eulogize Sarah, v'livkosa, and to cry for her. Now, or cry because of her. So this Nesivos Shalom brings down a Medrash Tanchuma. The Medrash Tanchuma says that when he started to cry and to eulogize Sarah, he said the psukim of Eishes Chayil in Mishlei that we sing on Leil Shabbos. So he went through the whole Eishes Chayil till the last pasuk, and it says over there, Zama Masada Vatigachayim, that it's talking about the Ma'aras HaMachpelah, that it says that she took the Sadeh, the field, and it says this is talking about the double cave, what Avram bought where to bury her. And obviously this is a question because she already passed away. That's the whole reason why he bought it, to have a place to bury her, right? So how is it that this pasuk should be attributed to her? Not only that, he goes on to say that the shanim is talking about the two things, Os Shabbos v'Os Mila, Shabbos and Bris Mila, so that a person doesn't have to worry about Shabbos and about Gehenna. This is what it's brought down in the Medrash. He doesn't have to be worried about the Gehenna because of these two things, of the Os of Shabbos, the sign that we have, that we keep of Shabbos, and the other sign of that we have of Shabbos, the Mila and Shabbos, Shabbos and Bris Mila. So Bris Mila has nothing to do with Sarah. How could he be saying this and attribute to Sarah? And the last thing he brings from that parak in Mishlei is Sadin Asavatim, which also refers to Bris Mila, and it says it's talking about Sarah. So obviously, there's all the same question. What does it have to do with Sarah? One doesn't have to do with Sarah altogether because she wasn't living at the time. And the other two, we're talking about Mila. Why is that connected to her? At the end of the parsha, it says right at the end of the parsha, I believe, it says, in Shishi, not all the way at the end, but close to the end, Vayosef Avram Yikach Isha Shmo Keturah, Ushma Keturah. So Vayosef Avram went ahead and he added Vayikach Isha, and he took a wife, Ushma Keturah, and her name was Keturah. And the Parshas say that was Hagar. Rashi brings it down. Okay? So, why does it say he added a wife? It should say that he vayikach isha, and he took a wife, ushma keturah. Why does it say vayosef Avram? So, I mean, obviously, the only, he was not married to Sarai anymore because she passed away. So if she was nifteres, why is it saying that he added? Okay. The Nesivos Shalom begins to explain by saying that an Isha, we know that the man is the giving. He's the one who's the giver. And the Isha is the one who's mekabeles. She is the one that is accepting and taking, right? But even though she is the one that is accepting and taking, still the blessing and the all the influence, the merit comes from the Isha, comes from the woman, right? Not only the blessing in spirituality and ruchnius, but also the blessing in gashmius, also the blessing in financial things. Any type of materialistic things, it all comes from the woman, right? So, therefore, when it says that pasuk is talking about Shabbos and Milah, Shabbos is one thing, but Milah, what does that have to do with Sari Menu? It has to do with Sari Menu. Why? Because Milah, even though it has to do with, Bris Milah is only with a man, but the spirituality comes from the woman. All the blessings of the house comes from woman. And everything. So when the Medrash says that, it says that Zamma Sadavat Yikachel, meaning Eishes Chayil, in Eishes Chayil it says, and the Medrash says it's talking about Sarah, it says that it's really, yes, because even the acquirement of the Ma'aras HaMachpelah was also done in the zchus, in the merit, and in the influence of Sarah. Because we know that it says in Gemara and Brachos, it says, Tzadikim b'misasin kurim chayim, that the righteous people, even in their death, after they pass away, they're still considered alive. That they have within them, righteous people have within them nitzchius, they have eternity. So, and therefore we can understand from this that when the pasuk says, the pasuk says later, beforehand, last week's parsha, 2 weeks ago's parsha, where it says, "Vayomer Hashem la'Avraham, Sarai ishtecha lo yisikra es shma Sarai." Right? V'chein Sarai ishtecha yoledes ben. Right? So two different pasukim. One pasuk is talking about when Avram was told to not call Sarai anymore, only Sarah. And the other pasuk was talking about that she is going to give birth to a child. But both psukim say, Ishtecha, your wife. Like, did Avram not know that it was his wife? Did Hashem have to tell him that? They were married for many years already. So, why is it that the pasuk, and we know that the pasuk doesn't even add one extra letter, or one part of a letter is already going to make if we have the sofer makes a part of a letter wrong, or he adds part of a letter, right, to a letter, then the whole Torah is puzzled. So why is it that there's a whole word added over here? So therefore, the Nesivos Shalom explains that that's the point of what it's saying over here, that Ishtecha, it means once she's your wife, because she was such a holy person, she stays his wife forever. And therefore that explains the other question that we had about adding a wife when he married Keturah, which is, Rashi says, Hagar. So when he married Keturah's Hagar, he was actually adding, because Sarah, Imenu, was still his wife. Now, it's interesting. How does all this relate to us? The Nesivos Shalom ends with the fact that we say Eishes Chayil at night, right? And when it says the fact that Sarah Imenu was eulogized by her husband Avraham Avinu with the psukim of Eishes Chayil, right? And even though Sarah was a mekabeles, she was somebody that was getting, but she still, all the blessings and all the influence and all the merit comes from her, because really it seems like if she is the one who is taking, who is accepting, and the man is the one who's giving, so how is it possible to say that all the blessings and all the good stuff come, whether it be spirituality, materialism, financial, everything comes from her? How is it possible that it doesn't seem to make sense? But the Torah says that the merit of the woman is actually what's giving us all the blessing, and therefore this coincides perfectly with the reason why we say Eishes Chayil, Leil Shabbos. So Leil Shabbos we say Eishes Chayil, and we say that first of all we know that Eishes Chayil is that Shabbos is like a ben zug of Shabbos is ben zug, is a partner of Klal Yisrael. As we said, I think last week or the week before, we said that Shabbos came complaining to Hashem. Why is it that Rishon has Yom Sheni, Sunday has Monday, Tuesday has Wednesday, and so on? Everybody has a partner. Well, who's my partner? So Hashem said that Bnei Yisrael is going to be your partner. And we also know that Shabbos is like the Kala, as we say in L'chadodi, right? L'chadodi likras Kala, Pnei Shabbos nekabla, right? So that is also talking about that Hashem is the Chatan, Hashem is the Chasan, and Shabbos is the Kala. So therefore, we say, in the fact that we say Eishes Chayil, because Shabbos also doesn't seem like we do all our work during the week, right? And most of our prayers are also during the week, right? It's only a very small amount of prayer on Shabbos, only a very small amount of learning Torah on Shabbos, right? But most of our Torah is during the week, and most of our work is during the week. But yet, Shabbos is Mekar HaBracha, as the Chadodi says, right? He says, and we know that from the Torah, that Shabbos is Mekar HaBracha. That's why he wrote that in the song, right? But how could it be? And this is exactly that we know that all the brachos, all the blessings, whether it be from above and below, meaning spiritual and as well as material blessings, they're all coming from Shabbos, right? And we dafka say, we make sure to say Eishes Chayil on the night of Shabbos, because then it's the time of the Kiddushin. Then is the time of when we are connected to Shabbos in such a way to be able to teach us that the Shabbos is like an Eishes Chayil, and all the blessings come from Shabbos, and that we should come into Shabbos in a beautiful way. As I heard from a close friend of mine, Rav Shmuel Fisher, many years ago. I think he heard it from his Rashiva of Azban, that he said like this. He said, why does it say in L'chadodi, Likras Shabbos L'chu v'nelcha ki makar bracha. Likras Shabbos, to greet Shabbos, L'chu, we shall go, v'nelcha, and we shall go. Why does it say either go or we shall go? Why does it say both? Go and we shall go. Why is it double lashon? Why is it saying it twice? So he says that Rav Azban, I think it was Rav Azban, said that the reason is because of the fact that a lot of people want to make one more deal before Shabbos. Just one more, right? And, you say, listen, I got to make my parnasa. I'm not going to be, desecrating Shabbos. I'm going to keep Shabbos. I'm going to be there on time. No problem, right? But, if I took in Shabbos earlier, right? Like at like few hours earlier, come into Shabbos, greeting Shabbos, as opposed to coming huffing and puffing, just like the last minute things that I have to do, and I want to put in that deal and then take a shower and then running into shul. Yeah, I'll make it on time, but I'm going to be, or if it, even worse, if I don't make it on time, but even if I make it on time, I'm not going to be so relaxed in greeting Shabbos. It's actually, Shabbos is going to be greeting me, right? And therefore, that's the problem. Why? Because you think that the last deal that you're making is really going to make a difference? No. If you give up, you totally say, I don't care about the last deal. I don't care about it. Because Shabbos comes first, then Hashem is going to give you much more than the last deal. Or if that deal is supposed to make it for you, it's not going to make a difference whether you do it before Shabbos or afterwards. It's going to go ahead and honor Shabbos. Hashem is going to take care of you. And the last thing I want to mention is something that the Nesivos Shalom says in the next Ma'amar, but very quickly. He says, Ma'aras HaMachpelah, he talks about the Ma'aras HaMachpelah, and if you notice, Ma'aras HaMachpelah, it goes on to say the entire conversation between Bnei Ches, who were selling the property, and the Avram, back and forth, and why do we need to know this? Not only that, it also says the actual, it says the way that Bnei Ches is talking about it, it says kever, grave. Just take your grave, nobody's going to take it. You don't have to pay us money. Not only does Avram pay the money, but he pays it much more than Ephron asked for, in a way that is accepted everywhere. So it was, I think it's somebody, I think 20 some years ago, somebody made a calculation that it actually was about $12 million. I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago. That's how much, it was totally way overpriced. And yet Avraham Avinu didn't hesitate, right? Now, to be honest, on the outside, it really doesn't seem to make sense, because she has a grave, that's it. They're giving it to her free. You want to pay, they don't want to pay, fine. But Avraham Avinu, the Torah is showing that this whole back and forth between Bnei Ches and Bnei Ches is offering it to him for free, and then Ephron offers him a little bit for free, with a little bit of in a sly way, right? And he still goes ahead and he wants to pay for it. So you see from here that this was not showing just telling a story. This is telling about Avraham Avinu's amazing chesed, the kindness that he did with the living, and the kindness that he did with the people that weren't living, right? Even though you might think that it's no big deal. Why did he do it? Well, what was the way that he called the grave? He didn't call it a grave just like they said. He called it achuzat kever, which is the estate of the grave. Why did he add that extra word? And he said it not once, he said it a couple times, right? I think it's like 3 times, but I didn't count it. But he says it every time that he refers to it, he refers to achuzas kever, where they refer to it as just kever, just a grave. And the reason is because what was the whole purpose of this conversation that he was having was to tell to his whole lifeline, his whole modus operandi that he was doing in his lifetime, and it was to spread Hashem in the world. And one of the things is, as a Jew, we know that Maimonides tells us, Rambam says, that there's 13 beliefs. One of them is Tchias HaMesim, right? That we are going to come up from the dead, right? So it wasn't just a place. Nowadays, even non-Jews think differently, but in those days, non-Jews agreed that people should be buried after they pass, and not burned, God forbid, or something like that, right? However, Avraham Avinu was doing is not just to be buried. It has to be a special place because this is an estate for now, because her body's coming up, and he's showing the everlasting emunah, the belief and the faith that he had in the resuscitation of the dead. So therefore, that's why he goes out of his way, and the Torah goes out of its way to tell the whole story, to show that it wasn't just a piece of land to cover up a dead body. It was actually covering up and showing her kavod, showing her utmost kavod by buying it in the highest amount, because this wasn't just a grave. This was a place where she is going to be able to be resuscitated very, very soon, B'ezrat Hashem. Called to have we'll see you next week, B'ezrat Hashem.